All right, everybody, welcome back. Purple Friday Show, episode 252. Had a little break last week. I was weird scheduling, obviously, with the Ravens playing on Thursday Night Football and everything else. But first, before we start the show, obviously, it's sending out prayers to the Cowboys. Was it Marshawn? Marshawn, I can't remember his last name right now. It's escaping me. Marshawn, I can't remember his name.
Nealon. I think it's Marshawn Nealon.
Marshawn Nealon.
Yeah.
Obviously, Marshawn Nealon. So he played on Monday Night Football. Obviously, he had that. I think on the block punt, recovered it in the end zone. Big moment for him, obviously, but tragically passed away this morning. Reports were coming out that there was a chase from the police and they were looking for him. Not sure what happened prior to all that, but there was a hit and run. He gets out of the car. Apparently takes his own life. So apparently had texted his family that he was going to do it and ended up doing it. So I don't know obviously what happened prior to that to force him to take it all away. And look, I get it. There's a lot of pressure on especially professional athletes from a lot of these situations these guys come from, to make it to the NFL. It's not a guarantee. It's definitely a privilege to play in the NFL and to make money in the NFL. But realizing that anything that happens can be gone, whether through injury or stuff that happens off the field. And for people that are dealing with issues and things like that, just pray that whatever it is you can get through it. You don't have to just end it prematurely. Because I know he had family and friends. I think he had a girlfriend as well. So pretty sure it's tough in the locker room for the Cowboys to deal with, the guy's 24 years old, so young for that to happen. So, anybody, mental health is go get, if you're struggling through things, please go get help. Don't wait till it becomes an issue where you start having, even if you've had thoughts and even you had attempts, please go get help. It can help prolong your life and everything else. So
yeah, sad situation.
Seek help if you're ever feeling anything. Talk to your friends. Connect with your community. Don't just sit idle because you're never alone in this.
Yeah, I think that's like I said. I don't know. The toxicology report will come out. Was he on anything? It was early in the morning usually, so or late at night. It was like 10:30 at night, but I didn't think they didn't find him till 1:30 in the morning. So it's just sad. It kind of reminds me of that. What was it? The quarterback from the Steelers, Ohio State.
Dwayne Haskins.
His situation where he was like on the highway and I think he got hit by a car. So it was just it's one of those things where those things happen when you hear a 24-year-old football player pass away. It's just this stuff usually doesn't happen. But and that these people are human. Stuff goes on outside of that locker room. Stuff goes on when they leave that training facility or that stadium. Stuff happens. So, moving on, we're going to touch on the Ravens beating the Dolphins, but has the mood soured. So first, we can talk about the Ravens and their win against the Dolphins. It wasn't an overly impressive win. It was definitely, especially in that first half. That first half had me a little scared because I think they were only up by a few points at the end of the half. And I'm like, I think if the Dolphins had converted one of those red zone opportunities into a touchdown, this game might have been completely different. But they came out in the second half. They get takeaways. They get turnovers. Lamar throws 4 touchdowns. They start running the football well. Everything. They looked like they were a completely different team in the second half. Completely. Again, wasn't overly impressive. Lamar threw 4 touchdowns. Looked like he's back. They did talk to him today asking, was the hamstring okay? Was he able to run? And he was like, yeah, I can run if I want to. I don't know why they keep still asking Lamar if he's willing to run when he's made it very clear over the last few years. He's like, I'll run if I have to, but not just because y'all want me to see me run. Because I know that's going to be the clip you guys are going to show on ESPN is me just running 50, 60 yards and not show everything else. Like Lamar wants to be known as a quarterback, as a pocket passer, that he can move if he wants to, but that's not his elite talent, whatever. But Look, what was it? Was that play the was it Marlon? Was that the Marlon Humphrey game? No, that was the other. I think that was the Bears game.
Yeah,
But no, they made look. I mean, I like the aggressive. The last two games have been the most aggressive I've seen that defense play since the bye. I don't know what's happened, but the aggression now has picked up tremendously. This team has got way more. They're ripping at the ball like they're. I mean, I think that the Dolphins play towards the end of the red zone where I think it's either Gilman. I think Gilman makes the strip. The guy's in like literally in the red zone, and Gilman at the last minute rips at the ball. It pops out. Ravens get the ball back, change the game. And Malachi Starks, happy for him getting that first pick. I know when it hit his hands and he followed it, he was like. We said that, like I think we said that for Nate Wiggins last year. It took him until that Browns game, week 15, 16, to get that first interception. When it finally happened, he was gonna be, finally get all the butterflies out and stuff. I'm happy for Malachi that it finally that got out, he got that out of the way now. So so all the mood was good. How did you feel like about the win? It's an away game playing Thursday night football. A win is a win, but
Yeah, I mean,
it felt good. Defensively, felt good. The Dolphins are able to move the ball some. A lot of it was when the game was pretty much out of reach, and we were just giving up some big plays, and then there was just some plays where we just kind of we were in the wrong position. But outside of that, like defense was solid. I mean, after the first drive, I don't think Cheney really went off on us. We kept the passing game at bay from big plays for the most part. And to be honest, like we had Tua look like he was seeing ghosts.
Granted, we sacked him
2 times, but I don't know where he was throwing the ball sometimes. But it looked good. I really loved the way we played defense, like you said, very aggressive. I love the way we used Kyle. Kyle was everywhere. That fade in the end zone where he was one-on-one with the Cheney. I hope I'm saying his name right, but whatever.
Achan.
Achan. All right. He had a one-on-one. I don't know why they throw that route on a 6'4" Kyle Hamilton, but Kyle Hamilton locked it down. He locked it down. I think, we look real good. I love seeing Marlon Humphrey get that strip on Malik Washington. And then I think, I don't know, it was the reverse. The first one, I think Marlon stripped Taj Washington.
Yeah.
And then Alohi Gilman stripped Malik Washington. All I know is the Washington boys looking real sus that day. So, defensively, I really like what I see. I think, who was it? I think, Travis Jones, Mike Green got sacks, and then I think Urban and Ajabo combined for a sack.
Yeah.
So I think we were really good. Offensively, we had moments. I felt like we were just in cruise control for the most part. Like Lamar had complete control of the game. Granted, he did not look like himself running the ball, but that's expected.
Yeah.
Coming off that hamstring. And I think early on we struggled running the ball. I feel like the offensive line played good except for,
Falafel.
I think they played pretty good except for Falafel. I think, he was just collapsing and falling everywhere per usual. I looked at some all 22, and there are a couple Derrick Henry handoffs that if Falafel just touches someone instead of just falling, it springs for 30-plus yards. So, that was frustrating, and I think that was a big part of our running struggles early. But eventually, like, we wore the team down. We just handed the ball off to Derrick Henry in the second half and, just did what we had to do. We left points on the board, so it wasn't perfect. But this was a step in the right direction. I feel like this was a ramp-up game for Lamar. They kept it real simple, but he made some really good throws. I was really happy with Isaiah Likely finally getting into the fold offensively, and showing that he's truly a tight end one. So, overall, I'm pretty satisfied. definitely need to see more because those Vikings look pretty good on, I think it was Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football. So I definitely need to see more from them. It's not going to get, it's going to get easier, but it's not going to get as easy because the Vikings are still a formidable opponent. JJ McCarthy looked competent, and Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are on the other side of that ball. So we need to keep up the aggression next time. I know we'll talk about that later, but this was a good start. A good start. And shout out to Zach Orr. I'll talk about him later. But thank you for adjusting. It shouldn't take this long, but thank you for adjusting and ramping up this defense.
I also just it's wild that it wasn't a huge move. Right when we first heard about when they traded Owe for Gilman. Gilman has been they talked about how well he does as the deep safety and just allowing Kyle to play in his natural position there. But again, why did it take 8 weeks? Like we this is how we get to it, but has the mood soured to me. They knew in August, was it August or even earlier than that in July? I think mini camp when Adarius had tore his Achilles or his AC, whatever he was, had a leg injury. They knew he was out, right? So they're like, all right, we're going to go with Bo Braid and Sanusi Kane, who were standing still on the roster at the point. Bo Braid gets cut during preseason, and now Sanusi Kane has been released, I think, as of Monday. He's gone. So both guys that you kept, that you were comfortable with replacing Adarius Washington being hurt, are now gone for the team. You had to go out and trade for Alohi Gilman. Okay, when guys like Justin Simmons were still out there, there were several good quality veteran free safeties available in free agency that you could have gone and go get, right? A lot of this goes back to also not getting the Lamar deal done at the end of last season. If you get Lamar's extension done at the end of last season, you don't have to worry about do we have enough money or whatever. You get that done, everything else plays into its role. Hey, look, when you're coming into the Ravens and playing free safety, Kyle Hamilton's there, but he's playing down near where the linebackers and DNs are. You'll still be playing high-end safety. We're going to keep 3 safeties on the field. So you're still going to get plenty of playing time, opportunities to get, bonus checks, all that other good stuff or whatever. Ravens didn't go do that. And this is where I get to the mood has soured because we see the trade deadline. We see the Cowboys trade for Quinnen Williams. They trade a first-round pick for this year, and I think a second-round pick, or it's a second-round pick for this year coming up, and then a first-rounder in 2027. And then we see the Colts go all in on Sauce Gardner, 2 first-round picks. They get this coming in 2026 first-round pick in 2027. And then I think they also traded a wide receiver, Donnie Mitchell, traded him to the Jets as well. You see these moves being made where the Ravens glaringly needed, we knew, D-line, interior especially. Broderick Washington's hurt. Don't know for how long. Whatever. You lost Nani BK for the year. And O-line. Falafel is not going to it's not going to get better. I would, like you said, if there were just glimpses of Falele just getting better at the simple things at playing right guard, that you could say, okay, maybe we'll stick with him and we can mask some things or whatever and just get through the season. But he's awful. So you have a needed right guard. You have a needed right guard. The Ravens have the comp picks included, to go trade. Like they were saying guys were available for 3rd-round picks, 4th-round picks, which I'm like, Kevin Zeitler was available. The Tennessee Titans are like, fine, just Jeffrey Simmons. You said Quinnen Williams. There are plenty of interior linemen for defensive line and offensive line that the Ravens could have gotten. They didn't pull the trigger, right? And we already know what's going to Eric DeCosta and them are going to say, well, we put some deals out there, but we weren't biting. I think you said in the chat, they were like, they probably offered a 6th-rounder for Quinnen Williams. And we're like, man, I can't believe no one took that deal. Like
the arrogance.
And it's baffling. We all understand. I think every GM in football, and not just football, any sport, any general manager in any sport understands, hey, we're good at drafting these kind of players, and we're really good at necessarily at developing these kind of players maybe at this position, but we're not really good at drafting or developing these positions. We're just not good at it. So you go in free agency. Hey, this is a proven guy, veteran guy. He can come in. We don't got to teach him anything. He knows what he's doing. If anything, he can help our guys. Let's go get him. That's what you do. You understand where your weaknesses are, or your blind spots are when it comes to drafting guys. And what baffles me is that Derek DeCosta every year keeps coming up. We got all these comp picks, and then at the end of the year they're going to have like 10, 11 comp picks, right? They're going to have 10, 11, 12 comp picks, right? And they're going to brag about how we have all these opportunities to draft players and do all this other stuff. For the last 5 years, when you look at the comp picks, just the comp picks for the Ravens, how many of those guys are actually even still on the roster? Most of those guys don't even make the roster for the Ravens that they pick, those comp picks. So what's the value? I'm like, go ahead and trade for a guy now that plays in the NFL, has years of tape. You don't have to wonder, can he play pro football? He's playing it now. He's been playing it on a decent level. I'm not saying you got to go and get an elite talent every time, but there are guys that feel a need for the Ravens that would tremendously fix Kevin Zeitler, while he's not an all-pro right guard, would fix so many problems on that O-line. So many problems. If you go out, even you got like a Jeffrey Simmons, for the Tennessee Titans and stuff. He fixes a lot of issues in the interior of that D-line, allows Mike Green and your edge rushers to go do what they want to do. The Draymond Jones, it's a good signing. Don't know what he's going to do. It's another Odafe Owe. He's had 5 sacks, 4 sacks in the last few games. We'll see if he does anything here, But I'll say this before I let you go. It just appears to me the Ravens aren't serious about winning. They're not actually serious about winning. Will they make the playoffs? Sure. They're a playoff team. Definitely a playoff team. But when I look at I think I said at the beginning of the year, every year there's like 4 or 5 teams that are actually legitimately out there to win a championship. It looks like the Eagles, the Chiefs, I'll say the Colts right now are out there to go win something. The Lions are out there to go win. And then everybody else is just kind of, we're just here. We have good teams, but we're not really out there to go win, because Ozzie could get away with the comp pick stuff, because Ozzie could turn those 3rd, 4th, 5th rounders into solid players for the Ravens. Like when I look back, going all the way back to like 08, 07, 08, when Ozzie was drafting during that time up until 2018. And there were several years. There were definitely some dud years. But most of the years, there were plenty of guys that were just like, he played for the Ravens for like 7, 8 years. He played for the Ravens for 7, 8 years. They were absolutely able to get guys that were that played day 3, day 4 guys that were impact players for this team. I can't say the same about EDC. He's running the same system or the same kind of idea that Ozzie does, but he doesn't have the same eye for the talent that Ozzie did. It's not working.
I'll say this. There is such an
arrogance with this Ravens front office right now.
I think, Eric DeCosta, it's like he's just so full of himself right now.
I think, he's been touted as this great scout back when he was under Ozzie. He was the heir apparent. He was that guy. And he came in and, everybody assumed based upon these draft grades that I'm tired of us getting these A's and A pluses and these draft grades that don't pan out years down the line. There was a graphic I saw yesterday about our 2019 draft class. Tyler Brown, Hayden Hurst, Mark Andrews, Ben Powers, and a bunch of people that are out the league. I think who's the quarterback? The quarterback we drafted from Navy, the option quarterback. What was his name? Trace McSorley. No, he was Penn State.
Drake McSorley,
Not even him.
Trace McSorley, and
Trace
then we got
McSorley.
Keenan
Keenan
from the Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Trace McSorley, who was never fit to be an NFL QB, if we're just being honest. No shade to your team, but they just don't develop NFL quarterbacks. So Eric DeCosta, he stacks up all of these picks. You were talking about the comp picks. He stacks up all of these picks just to miss on them every time. And his strategy is we stack up picks because you want more shots at getting that gem.
Well, it hasn't worked out.
So maybe we should start using these to get some guys that really come in here and contribute.
And I think that's the problem.
He's just so arrogant, and he thinks he could just make anything happen if he stacks up picks. The time has gone by. The way GMs are operating has changed. Everything's evolving. The game is evolving. How we do business is evolving. And you're seeing someone right up the road
up I-76 in Philly, go I-95, 76,
all that, in Philly, Howie Roseman, who's aggressive year in and year out. I think we say every year, how does Philly keep getting these guys? Where are these picks coming from? Where is this money coming from? How do they keep getting guys? And it's just simply a will and want to win, aggression, never thinking you're good enough. You know what I mean? I think the problem is we always think we talk about the Ravens being on paper, and I think we always get to a certain point in the season where us as fans get scared of how people rank us because that's when we usually let everyone down. And I think that's an organization thing. I mean, we just think we're just so good, and we get so full of ourselves that we always sit
on our butt. I think it was Kevin.
What's his name? Kevin, the writer for Baltimore, Stricker.
He wrote we did some stuff at the deadline,
and we can't be mad at what Eric DeCosta did or didn't do at the deadline, because where we really failed was when we had glaring holes in the offseason and we did nothing but twiddle our thumbs.
Because when you get to the deadline,
things aren't always going to work because there's trade value. It's trying to figure things out. But we had plenty of opportunity in free agency
and in the draft
to address these needs.
And that we never addressed.
We were arrogant that we could develop Daniel Falele.
We were arrogant
and thought Andrew Voorhees coming back healthy was going to be an all-pro player.
We thought this defense was
just going to step in and just dominate everybody.
And we were arrogant in thinking that
Zach Orr
was, this amazing coach.
Now, granted, he's doing better now, but we're 3-5.
When this team, if we're really
being honest,
should probably be 6-2. So there's just so much arrogance
with Eric DeCosta
that I feel like his seat should be
warm. His seat should be warm. And it's hard for us to really enjoy Lamar coming back, getting this victory in Minnesota, because come trade deadline, we're reminded of the fact that we have all these holes. And while we may make the playoffs, how will these holes be exposed once we get there?
Do we have enough to get past the Bills? Do we have enough to get
past the Chiefs? Do we have the coaches to get by these teams?
I don't know. I'm not as optimistic
as I usually am. So
that's my take.
And this is same thing we saw last year, right? We were complaining about lack of edge rushers last year, and it shows up glaringly in the Bills game. They get no pressure on Josh Allen, and he's able to just do whatever he wants in the backfield. And I'm thinking about just right now with the lack of interior linemen, because look, I mean, yeah, the Ravens won that game, against the Dolphins, but their running backs, they were running the ball well. They were running the ball well, just the turnovers. They were running the ball well. That speed was killing the Ravens, after a while. And I'm just looking at, Jonathan Taylor with Indianapolis, when they go play the Steelers and Jalen Warren, when they play Chase Brown, with the Bengals, they know like that interior, that middle area right there. And the fact that linebacker, like you got Teddy Buchanan and Roquan, like their linebacking core isn't elite. It's good, but it's not elite. Yeah. And they can't really handle those speed guys. And Jonathan Taylor has that perfect blend of just power and speed. And it's like, I'm just worried about here we go, playoff time. Yeah, they make the playoffs, win the division, all this other stuff, but they got to play, or they got to play the Chiefs or something. And Isaac Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, you know, and Rashee Rice and all of them, like, you know, they're going to be able to guard Kelsey, like, you know. So I'm like, it's, again, it keeps rearing its ugly head. They get, you know, I feel like the mood has changed because for years, I think, even myself included, would cope after every draft, you know, after every trade deadline. No, you know, the Ravens fine, you know, just got to develop the guys they got, and you know, they'll pick it up. The Ravens got what they need right now to go get it done. And I always think about now is when you see those teams when they draft guys, when they already have a guy at that position, and they still draft a guy in the top round, or it's like those teams always tend to pan out because they know they're not afraid of, hey, just because we have a guy right here doesn't mean we can't have two. Like, we can still, or put them somewhere else, you know, on that same line or whatever. Like, if we have one edge rusher, why not get a second one? You already got an elite one. Why not have two? You can't double team both of them. Why not have two? We already got an elite wide receiver, why not have two? Look, I mean, yeah, it just like when the Eagles, they get traded for AJ Brown and they still go get Devontae Smith. They didn't need to go do it, but they did it anyway. Like, it's look at the Chiefs. You know, they had Rashee Rice. They had Tyreek Hill. They got rid of him, but they got Rashee Rice, and they get Juju Smith-Schuster, and they get Hollywood Brown and stuff. They get Travis Kelce. You know, it didn't stop them from getting anybody. You know, so it's like it's the Ravens. Like you said, I think they're just so stuck on doing things their way that they're just waiting for it to be right. They're just waiting for it to be right. And I mean, look, think about it. Look how long it's taken for the Ravens to even become a passing offense. For years, we were doing the Greg Roman stick. From 2018 to 2022, we were doing that. Hey, we're the best rushing team in the NFL. We were breaking records for 4 years. We were 250 yards rushing the game and stuff. Didn't win jack. How'd that experiment pan out? When they realized, when they stopped the run, you guys can't throw the football, fine, we're going to stack the box. You guys can't throw. Yeah. And look, and also, how long did it take for the Ravens to get an actual receiving core around Lamar? That took until 2023. Lamar's been there since 2018. It took him to 2023. They were Willie Snead and John Brown. All the rest of those guys are washed up. Odell Beckham. You know, like, how long you finally, we going to rid of draft Isaiah a couple of years ago. We're going to get you just instead of Mark Andrews, get Isaiah Likely. But then on top of that, we don't know how to utilize all the people on the field together. Bateman goes missing some games. We can talk about that another time. Like this year, how we expected Bateman to kind of take it to another level. I don't know how much of it. I don't think it's all on him. I think some of it is they just don't utilize him. Same thing with Likely. Since he's been back, he's barely utilized. He has a few splash plays here and there, but we're like, not to the extent that he should be. There's too much. There is too much talent on this team for them to look like this. It just is. But it is also glaring, like you said, like you drafted all these guys. Let's talk about the O-line. Emory Jones, Falele, Brandon Cleveland, all the rest of these guys. Where are they now? Emory Jones is ramping up, whatever that may be. He was already hurt when they drafted him. He was already hurt. Ben Cleveland barely even plays. I think he does special teams at this point.
Yeah.
Pat Ricard coming back should not have that much impact on the way the offense looks. It looks completely different now. Pat Ricard's there because he can block. He's a 300-pounder that can move and can block, but that shouldn't mean that your fullback shouldn't be the reason why your offense sucks when he's hurt. Us and the 49ers are the only teams that have a fullback. Everybody else seems to operate pretty fine without one. But the way our scheme is on offense, they can't seem to operate without a fullback. The Ravens are so behind the times. They're trying to do things their way that, you know, we always say this is a copycat league. I would like the Ravens to copycat some other teams. You know, it's not working. But like you said, if they don't win it this year, right? Let's say this the same outcome. They get to the divisional round of the playoffs. They said they win the wild card game. They went to the divisional round of the playoffs. The same thing we saw in the off season. the O-line being as bad as it is, not being structured well, and the D-line suffering all the injuries and free safety being an issue and not addressing those when they needed to. Do you feel confident that Steve would move on from EDC? Should he is one thing. Do you feel confident that Steve Bisciotti would go ahead and kick him out?
No.
I don't. I don't think he
Should, though. I think this has to be like a come to Jesus talk for EDC. I don't think I'm at the point with EDC where I'm just like, let's get rid of him. I think it's like, look, you got to adjust.
And if you don't adjust, then
And, your seat is going to get warmer and warmer until it gets hot. So I don't think he should, but
it's hard to read.
Biscotti. It's hard to read him because they stuck with John for so long, and this is such a relationship, good old boys club organization at that level that I just don't know if he has the cojones to do it. Or with Harbaugh. So I don't think it's gonna happen. Now, if you ask me the other question about Harbaugh, I think so. But EDC, I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you don't win it this year, especially with looking how the AFC North looks, I mean, the AFC in general looks right now. You see the Colts get beat up by the Steelers. The AFC North is in shambles. I mean, Bengals out here scoring over 100 points in 2 weeks and can't win a football game. The Steelers, while they had, what was it, they got 6 takeaways in that game against the Colts. Everybody's like, they can't keep that up each week. They're going to be there have been games this year where they just looked off. So that's the other thing for me is that it feels like Harbaugh and EDC were like, oh man, the division is here for the taking. We can just go ahead and kind of chill. We got it. We're good. Versus we have our chance to put our foots on their necks right now with some of these, with a couple trades and shore up some things. And we can lock this thing down. We can just roll right to the division championship pretty much and get ready for the playoffs. But now with these issues, the Bengals still are going to be a problem because, look, if they're throwing up 50 points a game, we saw this last year with the Bengals. Both of those games. The Ravens won both of those. Do they win both of those now?
Yeah.
Yes, the Bengals defense is that bad, but the Ravens have a proclivity to choke in those kind of games. Yes, they got those games last year, but history does tell us when you win those kind of games the year prior, the next season, you don't win those kind of games. They already lost one to the Bills already. It's a bad sign. So if that defense is going to be tore up by Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, like you said, yeah, the schedule looks easy, but it's not really. There's those divisional games towards the end could I don't know. Those divisional games in the end don't look as comfortable as it would have if the Ravens had made some moves. If the Ravens had shorted the offensive line and I think had gotten somebody on the defensive line. And like we said, in the offseason, if they had dressed some of this stuff in the offseason with the talent that was available, there were the guys out there available, plenty of them. They were available. They'd love to play for the Ravens and a chance to go play with Lamar and win a Super Bowl. Like Ozzie was able to do that in 2012, and I think when I forgot who got hurt, and he brought in Bryant McKinney, to replace a left tackle. But he made the move that needed. He saw a glaring issue. Was like, we got to make that move now. He traded for Bryant McKinney, got him in here. That changed everything. He was able to make some moves during that Super Bowl year to make some change. Fires, gets rid of Cam Cameron and Jim Caldwell. Like things need to be changed. So. At 3, yeah, you've won the last 2 games, but for the Ravens, you can't afford to lose from here on. You can't. You can't afford, especially your divisional games. You have to sweep. Especially when it comes, like the Steelers are in the driver's seat right now. But if you lose to the Steelers, even I think 1 game at this point, if you lose to the Steelers, that's home field advantage. You're going to get that home game. You're going to have to probably play on the road the entire time. And it's just, I don't know. It's just for me, looking at what they were doing at the trade, and look, this is what EDC does. You know, when we look at what moves are the Ravens going to make, that was the move 2 weeks ago. Draymond Jones, that was the move. We're like, that doesn't add to anything. Like, but again, in off season, relying on Mike Green to be your premier edge rusher, a rookie, relying on Malachi Starks to be your premier deep free safety, a rookie. You've put too much emphasis on these guys panning out because you want them to pan out. They wanted Adafio way to pan out. He hasn't panned out. He's playing okay for the Chargers now, but he didn't pan out here. Ajabo's he's going to be on his way out the door. Adisa Isaac, does he even dress? I think he's a healthy scratch each game. You drafted 4 of these edge rushers in the last 3 years, and none of them, outside of Mike Green, is going to be on the team next season. They're all going to be gone. So I just at the point now for the Ravens, it's just not smart football with building this team. You could have gone out there and gotten a Justin Simmons and allowed a Malachi Starks to still get reps when he needs to during the game, but you got a veteran taking that spot that he needs to play. And also last year, we're relying on Nate Wiggins, a cornerback, to play outside corner. Like they're relying on too many young guys that don't really know pro football yet to be these game changers. It may take them a few years. They're not ready right now. Like I think the Ravens could have gotten. I think Corey said Bradley Chubb was available for a third round draft pick. They said the Dolphins were like, we're going to take a third round draft pick for Bradley Chubb. I'm like, that I'll take that. I'm pretty sure they could have traded a second round pick for Max Crosby.
Yeah,
they could have gotten Max Crosby if they wanted to. They chose not to. But I also think that was a hardball thing. I don't think he wants Max Crosby in that locker room, just to be quite frank. Because Max Crosby don't hold back. I feel like Max Crosby will speak his mind. And while Roquan looks like he's supposed to be the leader of that defense, he's also, I think Kyle Hamilton, to me, honestly, appears to be more of a leader on that team. Him and Lamar. Yeah. It's him and Lamar, pretty much at this point. But again, I do think Harbaugh is probably part of the reason why some of these trades don't get me. I don't like him. I don't like his attitude. I don't think it would fit well in this locker room. So it's just not. That's part of it too.
So. I don't know.
We got a lot to do, man.
We got a lot to do with this team.
I mean, I think at this point, unless there's some guys that end up
getting, there are always some guys that get waived sometime in the middle of the season because they want to join a playoff team. I mean, unless that happens, we have what we have and we are who we are.
Yeah.
And it's going to come down to coaching at this point.
Yeah.
So we just got to see, man. Looks like Falafel is going to be the guy to the rest of the year.
So,
and it was wild because last year he did play pretty well at the end of the season. It looked pretty good towards the end.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
It's like he came back worse
than he ever was because
it got tape on it.
Yeah, Falafel has been trash, but he's not been like falling over every play. It's more like he's too slow to get to certain spots.
He's too late.
He looks lost.
Yeah.
He looks lost. Like, and this is his what?
Fourth year?
Third, at least I think it's third year. I think it's his third year. This is third year.
We shouldn't be having these
issues of you being lost.
No.
This is your second year as a starter. We shouldn't have these issues of you being lost.
Yeah.
It's been the same offensive coordinator for 3 years. We should have these issues of you being lost. So,
like, there was one play I think during the Dolphins game where he was supposed to pull, and he was just late. The guy literally ran right past him. He was supposed to get over to that side. He was like trying to grab, ran right past him. He was too late. He's not athletic enough to play. If the Ravens are going to run this zone run scheme, he's not the guy. He's just not. But again, he's a Harbaugh. He's gonna play great. He's gonna play great. Like, okay, all right, man. Week 9 around the NFL. Vikings surprised the Lions. I think it's a divisional game, so I'm not gonna say it was a huge surprise, but with how the Vikings they pretty much kind of dominated that game. Like, it was closer than it would look like, but the Vikings, with J.D. McCarthy coming back from his injury, I don't know what the Lions. I don't know. They're like the Ravens to me. They're just they're like they're so good against a lot of different teams, but it's like teams they should be beating. JJ McCarthy has been hurt. He only played like 2 games before he got hurt. He got hurt, I think, week 1 or week 2. He's out for 5 games. He comes back. He should not be whooping y'all like this. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
To be honest, I put that whole loss on Jared Goff.
Remember what I said last year
About there's 2 QBs
that they take the most sacks I've ever seen?
Mm-hmm.
It's Jared Goff and Sam Darnold. I watched that
game, and it didn't feel like the Vikings were like dominating.
Mm-hmm.
JJ McCarthy played a game manager type of game.
Like Aaron Jones
Had a couple good plays here and there. Jordan Mason didn't get off. Justin Jefferson really didn't get off. He caught some passes, but he wasn't like dominating the game. And the Lions can move the ball. I mean, they couldn't run the ball. I think that was a big thing. They couldn't run the ball.
Yeah.
And everybody said this offensive line is going to be suspect for teams except the Ravens. But
Jared Goff got sacked like
6 times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
6 times. And to be honest, probably 4 of those were
Just on Jared Goff, where I just saw him like he wouldn't step up in the pocket, or he would just hold the ball too long, lack of awareness,
never, like, his footwork
was awful. He just had no presence in the pocket, and he kept taking sacks, and I think that's why they lost. Simple as put. Like Jared Goff.
Yeah.
I don't care
And
about the numbers.
It's just he's
taking sacks
at the wrong time.
yeah, and looking at Jahmyr Gibbs only had 25 yards rushing. Like that can't happen. I'm sorry. Like that can't. That's what I think. When you look at teams and guys just disappear, I feel like that's a lot on coaching. You need to find a way to get your top guy. They need to have the ball. We're gonna find a way. Like if we gotta do screen pass, if the traditional way of handing the ball off isn't working today, we're gonna put you some swing pass. We're gonna get you the ball. We're gonna find a way to get you the ball. We're gonna put you on routes, something. we gotta get the ball in your hands. And I don't know what it is about some of these teams. It's just the guys just disappear. It happens to the Ravens all the time. Keaton Mitchell finally shows up after being benched by John Harbaugh, and immediately the way that Keaton Mitchell, I'm not to segue to the Ravens, but the way he's able to hit the corner and get down the sideline, I'm like, as good as Derrick Henry is, he's not doing that. Keaton is able to turn a play that looked like would be a like negative -1 or -2 yards and turn it into a +5, +6 yard game just because of his speed. And the fact that it took the Ravens 8 weeks to do that just baffles me. Again. Let's see. Oh, the game Bears Bengals. Oh yeah, cut myself. Got a finger band-aid. Bears Bengals was a wild. Like the Bengals have given up. I think I was watching TJ Houshmandzadeh. Him and Shady were talking on a podcast, and TJ was livid. I mean, he's a Bengal for life. They've given up. I think he said over 1,000 yards in the last 2 games. The Bears were dead in the water. Like the Bengals, I thought the Bengals like, all right, this game's over. The Bears come back, and I think score most of their points. The entire game scored most of their points in the 4th quarter. I've never seen, but here's the thing. Everybody said this in the offseason. With them, when they pay T. Higgins and they pay Jamar Chase and he already paid Joe Burrow, they're like, they have no money for anything else. Of all the defensive talent they have had over the last couple of years, they've let them walk out the door, and they haven't replaced it with anybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody knew that it was going to be bad. I didn't know it was going to be this bad. Their defense, I don't know, did you see the Chase Brown interview that he did? Now they did take it out. They only showed that one clip where you get on the defense. He did say in the beginning, "Hey, look, when the offense was struggling, the defense stepped up." But they were saying in a lot of the shows, the guys that play football, they were like, when stuff is starting to get said in the media like this, and you're putting the blame on people, there's already been fights. There's already been fisticuffs. Like this isn't one of those that leads to it. There's already been some confrontations in the locker room. Like you're looking across the sideline. Flacco is 41 years old, throwing 470 yards, and you still lose a football game. But as I watched the game, I was just like, I also got mad. Game go to the Ravens. If Flacco just had one guy, we said if we had Anquan a few years before he was getting ready to retire, if we had Anquan and Torrey, you had Dennis Pitta and Dixon for a few years. Who knows what this would have looked like? Before, when Ed Reed and Ray were still in their prime, if you had a guy like Anquan and Torrey, like they had that 2012 unit 5 years prior to that, probably won 3 Super Bowls. And he's out there just 470 yards, 41 years old, throwing around. But that Bengals defense and Trey Henderson is hurt. So they have no pass rush. They can't stop anybody throwing the football. They can't stop anybody running the football. It's not going to get better. If I were the Bengals, I would have started trading people. I'm like, we need draft capital for next year. We need draft capital. We're like, hey, who can we get rid of? Who wants what? But then they were like, I don't think anybody wants anybody from the Bengals defense to be traded. They're like, man, we'll give you a 6th rounder, maybe a conditional 7. We ain't giving you nobody of any pick of worth for that defense. But no, they're going to put up a lot of points, but they're also apparently going to give up a lot of points.
Yeah.
Is Joe Flacco a Hall of Famer?
Is that what Sam said?
Hey, yeah, look, man.
I mean, look, that trade out of Browns is looking crazy. So crazy right now because,
granted they lost, but Joe
Flacco's looking great.
He's
looking great.
Hey, you never want to put another team in your division in a position to level up.
Granted, the Bengals ain't making the playoffs, but for them to be competitive, that's good because Jake Browning is
making them competitive. I think overall, it's crazy to see Flacco at 41 years old do what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
It also takes us back to the coaching of the Ravens and the lack of
weaponry put around him, and just think about what could have been. But I ain't gonna stay there. I think this is a great game. I love to see this game. It was competitive. It was good for my fantasy team. It was good to see Caleb Williams continue to evolve. Hopefully, there's some consistency about it. And I'm excited to see where the Bears are in a year from now.
Yeah,
they're definitely a team to watch. I know they got some drama with Adunze. With his dad, wondering why he's not getting more targets. Even, his dad feels like he's the best receiver on that team.
Yeah,
but it's exciting to see them. They're an exciting team to watch. It was a good game.
Yeah, they say when parents start chirping, it's one of those things. You got to step in. Hey, look, chill out for a little bit, please. Like, don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat. I know you defended me, but chill out. Okay, chill out. Let's see what else happened. We can talk about obviously the Chiefs and the Bills. Bills beat the Chiefs, but again, wasn't surprised by this. They played in Buffalo. Bills. This is what the Bills typically will beat the Chiefs in the regular season. They can't do it in the playoffs. They're like us, We can't beat the Chiefs in the regular season. We can't beat them in the playoffs. And I think that's what the thing was. Yeah, they beat the Chiefs, but a lot of people felt the same way. They were like, okay, that's great for Josh Allen, but we need to see him do it in the AFC Championship game. He hasn't done it yet. So to go back to the Bengals thing, did you people were starting to talk like maybe they should trade Joe Burrow and just get like a mid-level quarterback with this offense. I'm just like, y'all, okay, one game with Joe Flacco throwing that much. Y'all tripping. Okay. And they were like, well, he's just a system quarterback. I'm like, what's wrong with the system? Brady was a system quarterback for 17 years. Doesn't matter if he's a system. It works. It works.
Yeah. It's the
I'm like,
Daniel Jones.
I feel like that was like, we got to stop doing that. Just because you saw one good game by Joe Flacco, let's trade Joe Burrow. I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah. They're just looking across the
Pond at Daniel Jones and just seeing, the Colts
winning with the guy
everybody thought was mediocre, and what any guy can do with the right players around him. And they're kind of thinking it's a little easier. And maybe Joe Burrow is overrated. I don't know. Well, you haven't seen him except with this team, so and with this offense. So
you can't say that. Yeah,
you really can't say nothing.
Now, if you want to throw in the health factor, okay, then we can have a conversation.
Yeah,
but Flacco has done this with every team that's given him two weapons.
Yeah, Flacco has always had one of the better arms in football.
Yeah, and he's not scared to throw it.
He will just throw it up there and put a prayer behind it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I hate that they were talking about, we can just put another quarterback. Like you said, Jake Browning couldn't do it. So that's clearly, he can't just be anybody. Like, you just can't throw anybody back there and then just like, we'll just do that. Like, no. And the Daniel Jones thing is still, we're still, I'm still not sold necessarily. We got to see him in the playoffs first.
Now Cooper Rush comes in
there.
Right, exactly. It's like, no, if Cooper Rush was playing with the Bengals, y'all still want Joe Burrow. Like, let's not do this. And then I think that was pretty much it. And the Cardinals beat the Cowboys Monday Night Football. That's pretty much it. But Bells and Pookeys this week, week 9. I'll let you start first.
All right. I'm gonna keep it easy.
2, Kyle Monangai off the Bears. He had an amazing game. I think he had like 175 rushing.
And he really stood out. I want to see
what it looks like when Swift is fully in action, because Monangai is like, he looks good. He looks like a stud. So,
Bell for him.
Another one is Rico Dowdle, man.
He's been balling, man.
The Cowboys got to get charged with misuse of talent, because this guy came to Carolina and all he needed was a chance. And my man is he leading the NFL in rushing?
Yeah, he's taking Chuba Hubbard's spot pretty much. Like, Chuba Hubbard, I think, is healthy.
1 week. Chuba Hubbard came back 1 week, played with Rico Dowdle, and he got benched. So, Rico Dowdle is 3rd in NFL in rushing. He's behind James Cook and Jonathan Taylor. But, even still, like, he was the backup for most of the year, and now he's on his way to like a 1,400-yard season.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Bell for him.
I'm going to give my bell to the Seattle Seahawks. They're legit, man. They're good. Shout out to Mike McDonald, man. I think they were showing the stat. What was it? He's something on the road. These are, I can't remember what it is. But he had a great stat he had or whatever, and it's made me tear up because I'm like, should have been our guy. He was. You see what he's doing. He took Sam Darnold, and the Vikings didn't want him after they lost in the playoffs. Vikings didn't want him, and he's been able to. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, while he had kind of like a downish year, it was completely down, but he's lighting it up right now. And again, because they play in Seattle, they're not going to get a whole bunch of the TV, all the national games and stuff. They're 6-2, but they look good, man. They're just a well-balanced team on both sides of the football. Well-balanced team on both sides of the football. Shout out to Mike McDonald and the Seattle Seahawks. Shout out to them. Our Pookeys.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna go with. I got two.
One, Dak Prescott. I mean, it was a really poor performance. I know he got some junk yards later in the game, but really poor performance by him. I mean, that's a Cardinals team they should have beat.
and he was just awful in that first half.
And another guy who's just taking sacks. Like,
He got guys in his face sacking him every single time.
so
Yeah, that
Prescott. And the other one, Dan Quinn.
I didn't know if you were gonna have that, Miles.
So I just had to go with it first. But Dan Quinn, leaving Jaden Daniels out there in a blowout game, getting him injured in the same yard line, the same down distance.
That area of Northwest
same
Stadium
team.
is cursed. That whole
Yeah.
area, the 30-yard area, cursed.
Yeah. So he shouldn't even been
in the game. So, we got to give Pookie up to Dan Quinn because that was complete mismanagement of your young franchise quarterback who now has a dislocated elbow
and probably shaking up. Whenever he comes back. So.
Yeah, and I mean, and I felt like they rushed him back too from that hamstring injury because he got hurt. He played a game and then he had to sit out again because of the hamstring. And then and look, you're losing a football game. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like in the NFL they let those guys play, but I think I thought this if he was healthy 100%, I think it's not an issue. You leave your quarterback in there. But knowing he already had a hamstring issue, like it wasn't fully, and I guarantee you it wasn't fully healed. I'm like, yeah, like if we're at a certain point, we're not winning this game. So you effectively have the vibes that they had coming through the season now, done. You gotta start over next year. My Pookie goes to Kyler Murray. Get fired on his day off. Because I thought it was very interesting how the Cardinals framed it, right? So the Cardinals win the game. Everybody loves Jacoby Brissett. The next day, everybody talking about how Jacoby Brissett needs to be. Even if Kyler's healthy, Jacoby is just hot right now. And he was getting Marvin Harrison involved. They were saying how when Kyler's out there, all these guys go missing, But when Jacoby's out there, Marvin Harrison Jr. is getting the ball. He got six catches, was a career high. I'm like, why is it? How is that for Marvin Harrison Jr., who's your number one? How is 6 catches a high?
Yeah.
Like, he should be getting 10, 11 targets a game.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. How is 6 catches? So I thought it was interesting that they announced the coach was Gannon was like, Jacoby Brissett's going to be the starter. And then a day later, they put Kyler Murray on IR. They didn't say anything about it. They was like, he's going on IR for the next 4 games. So I'm like, with his foot. This foot. So I'm like, has Kyler Murray lost his job in Arizona? Has he lost the trust?
Man. Yeah.
I was going to say earlier.
I think he's done. I think he's done.
I was going to say, we were talking about like the offseason for the Ravens. I was going to ask you what's the over-under on Kyler Murray being our backup next year?
Look, man. I don't think they want that contract. I don't want that contract.
I think he's getting
released. I think there's an out because
okay.
him and Lamar are at that point where they would be up for an extension because their contracts were the same. Well, not the same, but similar.
Yeah.
So I think they're at the same point. But yeah, I think they can get out of his contract. He could be a free agent, get signed for less. But anyway, yeah, man, it's he's a small quarterback, bro. What else can you say? And he wasn't a focused guy. All the talk with him in his video games, he's just not fit to be the franchise guy. Come on over here and be our backup quarterback.
So he doesn't have it out until 2028. That's when he kind of has it out. 2028.
So that 2 years.
Yeah. So they got they're on the hook for him. He has a $53 million cap hit next year. Unless there's some contract and renegotiating and they decide to like pay him a little bit of extra money or something just to get out of there. I don't know. So we'll see. But being fired and you're being the starting quarterback and making all that money and the backup's coming in and guys are already like, yeah, he's getting us the football. It's like, it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
I just look.
They only will save money if they trade him.
So
he's probably getting traded. Somebody's. I feel like a Titans team, not a Titans team. They already got Cam Ward there, but there are a few other teams that would trade for him. I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Jets will take them. They like
Quarterbacks who nobody wants.
I mean, the Browns could take him. They're not. I mean, the Deshaun Watson should be coming up. Should be soon, right? I think they should be. His money should be coming up soon. I think. You pay him. So, all right, let's get to our Ravens Vikings preview. Ravens playing Vikings at 1 p.m. This is their second of their 3 straight away games. You know, they're playing on turf, so they're gonna be playing a little bit faster. That Brian Flores defense, though, is going to provide some issues, I think, for the Ravens. He's a smart coach, and I think that he's going to I feel like he's going to kind of do what we saw in that Chiefs game and the Bills game, or the Lions game. The Lions game and the Chiefs game where they had spies. They're going to have spies out on Lamar. It's worked, you know, in most of those games, keeping Lamar in the pocket and not allowing him to kind of get out and do anything. What we did start to see in that Dolphins game, we did start to see a little bit of the dump off game happening. It wasn't prevalent. They need more of it, but it was there. I think this week they were fully healthy. All 53 players are healthy. There was nobody on an injury report. Hopefully it stays that way. And you're going against JJ McCarthy, who he's only played. This will be his 4th game, I think, playing in the NFL. He had a good game last week. But I think that the aggressiveness that the Ravens defense has had is going, now that they've played 2 games like this, where they've now gotten to the habit of taking the ball away. I think that continues going into this game. Justin Jefferson's going to be a problem. Like you said, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I don't know if Wiggins is going to be able to. I don't know if they're going to keep him on Justin Jefferson or keep him on the one side. Awuzie and those, like, I don't know. It'd be one of those things where, because I watched JJ McCarthy play at Michigan, he's not exactly a great thrower of the football, right? If I'm the Ravens, I'm putting pressure on JJ. I'm blitzing him. He's not a mobile quarterback for the most. Doesn't move around a lot. I'm blitzing him. I'm like, you're going to have to beat us throwing the football. And I do trust the fact that with Cobb playing in that box area, you get Malachi Starks and Alohi Gilman now playing those safety areas, that I kind of have to treat it like the Tua situation. Like, we know Tua can't throw past a certain distance. You know that ball's dying at like 40 yards, that he can't throw 60, 70 yards. And I think JJ's the same way. He doesn't have a big arm. So a lot of that stuff that they're going to throw is going to be within that 5 to 10 yard range. That's going to be where he's going to be throwing the football most. So I would like to see, hopefully, if, you know, Malachi and them can kind of cheat up a little bit and kind of just congest that area, just to provide some issues for, make him have to make a read decision and not just give him easy throws. That's going to be the key for the Ravens. Don't make him have to read the defense. Show some disguises too. I want to see some stunts. If Carl Lawson's going to play, and, you know, now that with the Draymond Jones or whatever is going to play, let's see some creativity on that line. Move some guys around, you know, get some guys moving this way, that way, or whatever. Just provide some different looks for him, for JJ McCarthy. Offensive side of the ball, I think for the Ravens, get the ball. If you get a chance, receive the ball, score early. You have to anticipate that this offense, because of Justin Jefferson, can turn it around at any moment. Justin Jefferson, I don't know if you remember years ago when Odell was playing with the New York Giants, when Justin and Odell like killed us one game. He had like 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he caught most of his passes were slant routes over the middle and just took it to the house. And I'm just like, you got to make sure the Ravens on defense avoid that. You have to anticipate on offense. They're going to maybe get 2 of those. They might get 2 of those in the game where Justin Jefferson just goes to the house for 50, 60 yards. So we got to keep the foot on the gas. I want to see a healthy dose of Derek and Keaton. I would like to get Keaton more than, I think he's getting like 2 or 3 touches a game. I want to see that move up a little bit more to 6 or 7. Get him involved in the passing game as well. Also, with the emergence of Charlie Kolar, the way he's been finding ways to get open, I'm not saying you got to throw to him every play, but I'm like, if it's a healthy dose of Mark Andrews and Likely, what Kolar say, he's like, they're not looking for me. He's like, the Kolar said, I'm not looking for the ugly white guy. He's like, they're not looking for me. He's like, he's been wide open, but he's been wide open. He's been solid, get him involved. I think that's going to be the key for them. The Ravens just have to really do a really good job of playing complementary football from here on out. This defense, while it has played well the last 2 games, I'm not confident in the fact that you guys can just score on 3 or 4 plays and do that the entire game. They're going to have to put some drives together where they're going to have to convert on 3rd down. And you remember that first half against the Dolphins, the Ravens they would punt. Like they were doing 3 plays, minus 2 yards, 3 plays, 1 yard, 3 plays, minus 5 yards. There was a few drives in that first half where the Ravens were doing absolutely nothing on offense.
Yeah.
They got to start having some drives where even if they're not scoring, you got to be able to take some time off that clock. They got to play a little complementary football here. I don't want this defense on the field for longer than 40 minutes in the game. So a little bit more what we saw in that second half of the Dolphins game. A little bit more of that. I think this should be a winnable football game.
Yeah, I mean,
this isn't a high-powered offense, right? I think
J.J. McCarthy is not there yet as
far as like
you know, put up 300 yards
passing, throw for 3 touchdowns,
put up 30 burgers.
I think we
just gotta be aggressive. I think
you gotta give him the tool treatment. You gotta make him see ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Confuse him.
So
I love what we do with Kyle Hamilton or whatever that thing he does where he chips the offensive line and goes straight to avoid the back that's in protection and going for the quarterback. Let us see more of that.
That's just genius play. I don't think I've ever seen. Maybe outside of Troy Polamalu doing something like that. I don't know if I've ever seen a player do something.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I wonder where that originated from.
Yeah,
but, I want to
see more of that. I want to see more of Mike Green having more opportunity
to do what he does best.
I don't want to see him in coverage. I want to see him going after the passer every single play. I want to continue to see us just mix it up with the guys. I want to see more Ted Buchanan. I want to see Trent Simpson with his hand in the dirt. Just mix it up. I want to see more Peebles because I think, somebody called this out on Twitter is that we have a bunch of nose tackles, but we don't have a Nnamdi replacement, right? And that was the big thing with Quinnen Williams. But Peebles showed in the preseason he has a little something in his game. So I want him to get that opportunity because I feel like he would be our best pass rush from the defensive lineman position based upon what's on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see him, get some more snaps and get after it. So I think, overall, if I can sum it up, like defense, I want to see more aggression. I want to see us forcing turnovers and just not giving up big plays because any team that has Justin Jefferson has a chance to make a big play.
Offensively, you got to get your playmakers the ball. I think that's simply what it is. You got to get your playmakers the ball. I need to see Keith Mitchell with 3 to 5 touches.
And that's minimum for me. Like he needs 3 to 5 touches a game. Healthy dose of Derrick Henry, 15 to 19 rushes.
Yeah.
And then we need to see Lamar be able to get the ball to his playmakers.
They need the ball.
We need to see more Hopkins. We need a couple targets for Tez, and we need some targets for Likely. I think, Andrew's going to get his couple targets just because he's a chain mover. But I think, from jump, we got to get the ball in our playmakers' hands. I think that's just the name of the game. I think we could lead with running. We can lead with passing and still win the game. But I think it's about getting the right guys the ball in the right scenarios. You know what I mean? I don't want to see Derrick Henry, like I saw earlier in the season, him getting these dump passes, and us using him that way. I don't want to see an overusage of Tylan Wallace. Granted, he's good for that one play every year.
One play a year.
But I want to see the right guys get the ball in the right places at the right time, and I think that's what we're going to need to do. Stop running on every first down mix up. Keep pin that point. Stop running. Yes. So stop running the ball.
We've been doing that since Greg Roman days, man. I'm sick of it.
That's Brian Billick days.
Yeah, I'm sick of that.
Jamal Lewis, Priest Holmes, every single first and second down, run the ball. If it's third and long, pass it. If it's third and short, run it. Yeah. That's the Brian Billick formula. But
or at least
yeah,
disguise it, right? Disguise look like a run play, and you can run and play action or something out of it. Like,
Yeah, I think a lot of our strategy is
gonna be around like how Lamar is feeling. Because you can see last week he was definitely limited. He was
yeah,
definitely looked slow.
yeah,
Definitely looked slow. So I think that'll play a part. But I think it's just balance, man. We just gotta be balanced and we gotta get the guys the ball in the right way.
yeah,
And I think it's all about mismatches. When you got these weapons that we have, you know how I used to say like a year or two ago, like we need guys that we can create mismatches. We need to make them threats. And I think we have the guys. We have
yeah,
threats. We have a deep ball threat no matter how slow he is now in Hopkins. Deep ball threat in Zay. Deep ball threat in what's his name? Bateman.
hmm
Deep ball threat in Tez. We have
yeah,
guys that we can throw deep to, right? We have guys that can catch the intermediate. We got Zay, who's a drag slant king out there. We got Likely, who's a jump ball machine. Andrews, who's a chain mover. Derrick Henry, who just throw guys on the ground. So we have guys that can
yeah,
do a lot of different things. So it's just all about making them threats and kind of just like Corey said, mixing it up, keeping the defense off balance, and that's it. That's all you need. Like this isn't a game that shouldn't feel 95% winnable. And I don't feel 95% confident,
yeah.
but this game is 95% winnable.
No, I think you're definitely right about like just getting the guys involved, and I think a lot of what we saw, especially in that second half, I don't know if you noticed, they did a lot more allowing Lamar to make changes to the line of scrimmage in that second half of the Dolphins game. He was able to get to the line, either get out of a play, see certain alignments, things like that, which we have been critical about the Ravens for I don't know over a decade about the fact that they never leave, even when Flacco was quarterback. Like they never seem to leave the quarterback enough time to, if he sees something, to get out of the play or move to something else or change assignments and things like that. Like Ravens get to the line, they got 5 seconds. Like you can call the play, get the play ready to go, give Lamar 20 to 15 seconds. This at the line, you can move guys around, you can do whatever, change the cadences up. Because when you're running in 5 seconds, they know they're about to hike it. The defense is already ready to go. Like if you get there with 20, 15 seconds, you don't know when they're going to go. You know, if you're gonna go, we're gonna wait, drag the clock out all the way down to 1 second. We're gonna hike it at 10. You don't know. So I want to see more of trust Lamar more in these situations, that he knows what he's seeing. And when they get to the line and he sees something, let him go. Let him, hey, I see something. Let's go do that. He's looking at, if he said see the match, if he sees Likely line up on a linebacker, that's all line, hey, we're changing the hot route. We're getting hot route. You go here. If he sees a safety come up or something, like allow Lamar to be more of a quarterback. Allow Lamar to be. I think that's the next step, is when Lamar getting to the line and controlling the offense and that doing that as well. But yeah, just also to just putting some drives together. Again, they played well the last couple weeks, but I just feel like against certain teams, if you go 3 and out too much, you're gonna get burned. You're gonna get burned. So I want to see more of that. So before we get out of here, what's the score? What we got?
Man, honestly, I'm thinking like a score similar to
The Dolphins game. We'll go 28-10. 28-10.
Okay. The Ravens this season, I'm trying to think with the games that they've had, even in the losses, 10 points, 3 points. So the Bears win was their first 30 points since the Lions game. That's September 22nd against the Vikings. 20, I'll go 25, 25-17. 25-17. Corey said 31-14. I would love that. 31-14.
31-14.
That's
Okay.
kick up my feet. That's kick up my feet. 31-14 is kick up my feet on the coffee table.
Yeah, I agree, Corey. We should have had 30 last.
Yeah, we could have. Yeah, last
we
game.
left 2 touchdowns on the field.
Yeah, we could have. The Ravens also got to work. Their red zone efficiency this year has been atrocious.
Yeah,
I don't know what kind of like the plays that they call in the red zone, but they got to throw that whole book out.
Yeah.
They got to throw that whole book out. There's no reason you should have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson at the 1 or 2 yard line and not be able to fake somebody out to get a touchdown. Like we said too many times on 2-point conversions, even though it's converted and they do get them, they take away an entire side of the field. They run everybody to the right or everybody to the left, and they got to change that. Let Lamar stay in the middle of the field and allow him to kind of dictate what's being ready to happen. Because guaranteed, if Lamar is that close to the 1 yard line, defense is looking. They're looking at what Lamar is doing. I hate they gotta scrap that. I hate that.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Definitely with you
there. Yeah. So, all right, everybody, that's it from us. Hope the Ravens get this win and move on to week 4 and 5. Is that right? 4 and 5.
4 and 5. Yep. That's what
Maybe we get a Steelers loss, and we're right there. Right there.
Sorry for the taking, right?
Yeah. So that's it from us. We'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace.